Montefiore Medical Center is one of the first hospitals in the country to create an organ and tissue donation initiative with the mission to increase the number of organ donors in the Bronx. They work with several Bronx community boards, faith groups, health centers, and schools to create a strong network of organ donors. On set to educate us on this new program and this initiative is the manager, Leo Travino. Welcome to the set.
Thank you for having me here.
Can you explain to me what exactly is tissue and organ donations? I know a lot of times when people get licensed, they have that opportunity to sign the back of their license, in case of death, I'm okay with having my organs and tissue donated. Can you explain to me?
Absolutely.
What is it?
Yes, absolutely. Well, when we think of organ donation, organs are life-saving, whether it's donating a heart, liver, or kidney, or pancreas. These are life-saving, vital organs that are needed for transplantation. Tissue, on the other hand, cornea donation or bone donation might not save lives, but they do enhance lives. So while tissue enhances lives, organ donation, donating organs will save lives.
Okay, and I know at Montefiore, the hospital, there's a long waiting list for kidney transplants. Can you tell me generally how many Bronxites are sitting on this list currently? What's the number at Montefiore?
Yeah, well, the listing, the transplant waiting list throughout the country, there's a national waiting list, does not have people registered by where they're from or what their background is. It's just a very, anyone who's critically in need of a life-saving organ or tissue transplant will go on the waiting list. I can tell you that there's over 110,000 people throughout the country who are on the national transplant waiting list. And out of those 110,000, there's about 9,000 in the state of New York, of which about 7,000 are right here in the greater metropolitan area, of which about 900 are registered and listed at Montefiore Medical Center. And these are patients who are from the Bronx and other parts of the region waiting for a heart, liver, kidney, or a pancreas transplant.
So as far as the national waiting list, just to educate our viewers and myself, when you get placed on that list, do you get placed on that list based on your priority number if you're critical, or is it just that you go at the bottom of the list because you were added to the list today, or is there a priority placement for people who are critical or nearing organ failure?
Absolutely. It's based on medical urgency. So that means if you've been on the waiting list for 6 months and I get on the waiting list 2 days ago and the doctors deem that I need that kidney or that liver urgently more than you do has been on the list for 6 months, I will receive that organ transplant. So it's based on medical urgency above all things. And then of course also other factors that go into play here are whether or not it's a perfect match in terms of blood type between the donor and the potential recipient. Height and weight are all taken into consideration before someone would be a candidate to receive a donor organ or tissue.
Wow. So this initiative, can you take me through the initiative that Montefiore is instituting for organ and tissue donations here in the Bronx? And I would suspect this is a larger initiative because obviously people are affected and this cross state lines, this cross county lines. Can you take me through the initiative?
Yes, absolutely. Several years back, we are a transplant center at Montefiore. We have a kidney program that's been around for about 35 years. We have a liver and heart program. And frankly, we're in what I think is a public health crisis when it comes to organ donation. We just don't have enough organs to go around to transplant everyone on the waiting list. So several years back at Montefiore, we saw the great need not only to promote transplantation, and as miraculous as transplantation is, if you really think about it, transplantation isn't all that miraculous if someone does not make a decision to becoming an organ or tissue donor. And so the real miracle, I believe, is in those who are registering, signing up to becoming organ and tissue donors. So we saw a great need not only in the Bronx, but throughout the New York City area that we needed to begin to promote organ and tissue donation. We needed to begin to educate our communities about the great need not only for transplantation, but also for organ and tissue donation. And this is why we started the Montefiore Organ and Tissue Donation Initiative, which is really Montefiore's testament to our commitment to saving lives through organ and tissue donation. And so we not only educate public health professionals about the need for organ and tissue donation, but we also go out into the community, and especially our communities who have so many myths and misconceptions about organ and tissue donation. And so the program really encompasses educating professionals within the medical field, but also going out into the community and creating awareness of the need for organ and tissue donation.
So what can Bronxites and our viewers at large do to help with the initiative, or just the little things that we can do in our day-to-day lives that can possibly help the organ and tissue donation? Because at the end of the day, we all at one point might be affected by someone, or even ourselves, with needing an organ or needing tissue donation. What should we do?
Absolutely. Well, I think it's a good question, but I think even a better question is, what are we in the healthcare profession doing to promote awareness among our community? And I think a show like BronxNext is an excellent show where we are beginning to promote organ and tissue donation. I believe that as we educate the community, our community become our ambassadors to promoting organ and tissue donation. We talk about every other subject, but somehow when it comes to talking about organ and tissue donation, we tend to stay away from it, simply because in many ways we are not comfortable with our death. And because when we talk about organ and tissue donation, we're talking about at some point dying and making a decision to become an organ donor. So one of the things that we can do is, Montefiore is open to receiving invites to go into the community, whether it's houses of worship, whether it's community boards, whether it's healthcare fairs, where we come and we educate our community about the dire need for organ and tissue donation. But the most important thing is that once people hear about organ and tissue donation, they need to sit down and have a discussion with the family about their wishes to become or not to become an organ and tissue donor. The number one reason why so many families say no to organ and tissue donation when they have that opportunity to donate organs of a loved one who is dead is simply because we never talked about it. You know, Joey was a kind person, he was a giving person, but unfortunately he never talked about organ and tissue donation. And as much as we know that it's important and it's needed, we can make a decision not knowing what his decisions or his wishes were. So I really encourage folk to go out, talk to your family members about your decision to becoming an organ and tissue donor.
So if someone at home is interested in reaching out to the initiative, or either a school or wherever is interested in finding out more about the initiative and bringing someone in to talk to people about the initiative,
yes,
where can they reach out to you at?
Sure. Well, I'm at Montefiore Medical Center, and they can reach me at 718-798-4285. I will personally answer the call and make arrangements to come and visit them and do an organ donation seminar or a workshop, or talk about the need for organ and tissue donation. But also throughout the state of New York, we have what they call the New York State Donate Life Registry. People can now register to become organ and tissue donors. In the past, people have carried a donor card as an expression that they want to be an organ and tissue donor, but the donor card is only your intent to become an organ donor. And that intent can be overruled by a family member if you were to become an organ and tissue donor. If you're on the registry, and the registry is a confidential database that's administered by the Department of Health here in the state of New York, is one of consent. Once you sign on the registry, there is no one that can overrule your decision to become an organ and tissue donor. So I really encourage people to go on the website. They can go to www.nyhealth.gov/donatelife. There they can register on the registry to become an organ donor. Or again, they can call my office at 718-798-4285, and I will be more than happy to send them the enrollment form where they can register to become an organ donor.
Thank you.
My pleasure, and thank you for having me here.